Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can obviously read me in the Sun-Times sports section. You can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at @JCowleyHoops. Might have an Instagram channel coming soon, but we'll see. More importantly, we are in Season 2 of this pod, and that means Media Day and the start of Bulls Camp. It's the offseason kind of flew by. Not a lot of huge action by the Bulls. Obviously, Isaac Okoro was the big addition in the Lonzo Ball trade. The Josh Giddey drama for the contract kind of dragged on. But what you see is what you kind of get with this team. We're going to see a very similar roster. We're going to see a very similar style of play on the offensive end. Defensively, do they take that step back to what Billy Donovan likes when he had a top 10 defense a couple years ago? The defense slipped, and it cost him. So coming into this camp, fall camp, storylines, the main 5 storylines that are going to everyone's going to be watching. The Bulls writers are going to be talking about, asking about. All eyes will be on it. They start camp, the workouts. They've been in town working out the Advocate Center, running scrimmages and stuff like that, open gym type stuff. But now it gets real. And the first preseason game, October 7th at Cleveland. Nice little early season challenge. So it's coming quick. This thing goes by quick now. So first, number one, I don't care what anyone says, the number one storyline, modest. We had Ayo Dosunmu on the pod earlier in the summer, midsummer. One of the things he talked about was the open gyms they had out in Los Angeles as a team and the open gyms they were having. And then obviously we saw in Summer League. And to a man, all the talk was modest, added some muscle, added some weight, and was unstoppable in these runs, because of his ball handling, because of his newfound physicality. That's great. That's all nice preseason talk and hype and stuff like that. We got to see it. I think we will. I think this kid wants to be great. All eyes are on Modest, because if this team has a hope for a all-star / eventual superstar, it's with this kid. There aren't a lot of 6'10", 6'11" kids walking around with that kind of ball handling and that kind of offensive skill and rim protection, a willingness to be great on the defensive end, to learn to be great on the defensive end. So this is it. This is storyline number 1, 1A, 1B, 1C. What does Modest look like? What is the jump he takes in year 2? Can he be the superstar that this team desperately needs? So to me, that's number 1, and nothing else is even close. Number 2, the starting lineup is going to be interesting. So we saw a lot of Kevin Huerter in the starting lineup the last 5-6 weeks of the season. They go 15-5 with this lineup of Modest, Kevin Huerter, Josh Giddey, the Vooch, and Kobe White, 7-1. Again, it was in March, dangerous time to be falling in love with your basketball team, unless you're AK, who falls in love easily with his own product. But the fact is, Billy Donovan really liked Kevin Huerter in the starting lineup. I don't think it's going to end up playing out that way. I don't think defensively, they need to slow teams down right away. So I think ideally the best starting lineup that we'll eventually see is going to be Buchelis. That's not going to change. Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Vooch, and I think it's going to be Isaac Okoro. He's their best defensive stopper, wing stopper. He can guard 1 through 3, maybe a small 4. So I think it's going to play out that he's eventually the starter. Maybe I'm wrong. But what that does is that allows Huerter to come off the bench with that second unit of Ayo. You'll have Huerter, Zach Collins, P. Will, and then Trey Jones. And then Phillips, Dalen Terry, guys like that will be kind of fighting. Jalen Smith will kind of be fighting for, am I in the rotation? Noah Essengay, the rookie, that we'll get to him in a second. But storyline number 2 is the starting lineup. What does it play out to be? Does Billy just say, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going with these guys, and that means Kevin Huerter. But I think we're going to see Isaac Okoro because I think they need a true defensive stopper that can be that wing stopper and guard the team's best offensive player. So we'll see, but that's what I'm banking on. Number 3, does this roster even stay the same by the time camp ends? Talked about it in the finale of season 1 podcast. Houston Rockets have already had a major injury with Fred VanVleet. Say what you want, but I think the perfect fit is Coby White. Maybe some people argue Ayo would be the fit. I think they would want Coby White. He's a little more proven offensively, and I think he fits more of what VanVleet does for them than Ayo. So, not to say that Ayo can't just be a straight point guard, but I just think Coby, been around a little longer, better track record. Is Vooch there by the end of camp? I think he will be, but if there's an injury in camp or a team feels really small all of a sudden, Golden State, and they go into these preseason games and they just feel like the lineup has shrunk even more because teams are looking to get bigger. Does Vooch become a movable piece? So that remains to be seen. But does this roster, the one we see and are interviewing this first week of training camp in 2.5 weeks, is at the same roster as the games start to matter? That'd be fun to watch. Number 4, already mentioned this guy, the Rook, Noah Essengay. What is he? I mean, the first day of Summer League, it looked like watching an awkward olive oil. I know a lot of people probably don't get that reference. Google it. But he looked like he was on skates. He looked like he was completely overwhelmed. He got better as the games went on. I think the nerves probably left his body and he kind of settled in. And then after a couple of games, Modest wasn't out there, so that kind of freed up some things. But I don't see him cracking the rotation. He'll get some looks in these preseason games. Obviously, he's going to get some runs, some heavy minutes, especially in games 2, 3, and 4 when they kind of don't want their starters playing much. Look, he is a raw prospect that needs tons and tons and tons of work. And I think the best way for him to get that work early on is to stay with the big boy team and get practice time when they're able to practice a lot more early on, or they try to as the year goes on. Practice times become harder and harder, not only because they're trying to keep guys off their feet, but the schedule seems to always tighten up a little bit where practices just become harder to do. So we're going to see a lot of Noah Essengay early on. But he has to jump, when you think about it, he has to jump the likes of Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry. And fine, he might be able to do that. I don't think they're married to those guys. Patrick Williams, Jalen Smith, Zach Collins. I mean, these are all guys, rotation guys that are going to be in front of him. Forget, who the starters are, Kevin Huerter, Okoro, whoever it is. So when you just do the math, I mean, he's probably 13th, 14th on the pecking order right now. So I think the best thing they can do with him is let him stay with the big boy team. Let him start to learn the game, understand the physicality of it. The development guys, the way this works, a lot of people I don't think understand it. Just because the veterans are just going to a shoot around, or the starters, even the rotation guys, go to a morning shoot around, say we're on the road in Boston, and they do their shoot around, and media members, we all talk to them, blah, blah, blah. We leave. The player development guys stay behind with the guys that need run and need minutes, and they basically have just an open gym and pick up games. And sometimes some of the guys want to stay. Dalen Terry's a dude that just likes to play ball. I've seen him stay behind when he doesn't need to, just to get a run in. Trey Jones did some of that last year before he got hurt. Some of these guys just like to get a run in and get a sweat going and help these young guys develop. Noah Essengay is going to be in a lot of those games. So And I think especially early on as they're trying to find minutes for him and stuff. And then once Windy City starts up, about a month into the regular season or 3 weeks in the regular season, they can play with where he is. If they're in fall camp for the Windy City Bulls, and the Bulls are, obviously a couple weeks in the regular season, they can send him to the fall camp to get grinded out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight days of practice. The nice thing is they could bring the Windy City Bulls into the Advocate Center to practice for the week. So Noah Esengay can just, stay there if the team's on the road, especially. So they have a lot of flexibility, a lot of things they could do with them. I'm not writing this kid off. I'm not saying he's a bust pick by any means. There are some tools there, but I just think he's going to need a lot of work. And that the storyline to me is don't get too excited about what you see in the preseason, these preseason games, because those minutes aren't going to be there for him. They just aren't when the games matter. So that's storyline number 4. Number 5, outside shooting. Peter Patton. They fired him. We talked all about it. He was the, Yoda for, you go right down the line, Josh Giddey, Modest, Vooch is a self-starter. He does his own thing. But Giddey, Io, all those guys praised his ability to communicate with them, to fix the, the little flaws in some of their shots. He was obviously fired. He was not the yes man that Arturas loves to have around him. So he was sent elsewhere. They really didn't go outside and say, hey, we have a new shooting guru. They promoted some guys. And it sounds like it's going to be by committee. We'll see how that works out. But not only do they have to figure that out with Peter Patton, but the other storyline is defensively, does the offense stay where it is, but does the defense take a step up? So it's kind of two-sided. I mean, are they going to lose a lot with Peter Patton? Are guys going to get in their own head? Is the shooting going to drop? Because that was huge for their offense. And then obviously, how does that go hand in hand, complementary basketball with the defense? So to me, I'm anxious to see who steps up, who becomes the shooting whisperer for these guys. We probably won't know that till the games really matter. But in camp, it will be discussed. It will be talked about. A lot of guys like Peter. A lot of guys were not appreciative of that move. So, it's a by committee thing. So, and there's other things that we'll be watching. But those are the 5 storylines that stand out the most as this thing ramps up. Bulls camp, 25, 26. We'll see where it's going to go. So, all eyes on those 5 things for this week and the next couple of weeks. So, all right, let's go to Cowley Island. So I know how this works. I'm not going to try 8 Mile in AK, but I am going to try 8 Mile in AK. I know exactly how the Monday press conference, whenever you see this might be on the Monday. It's media day. I have a feeling I know exactly how it's going to go because he's very predictable. He's going to beat the 15-5 finish. He's going to beat that drum. He's going to beat the Pacers. Look at the way they made it to the NBA Finals with depth. We've already discussed that numerous times on several different podcasts. That's great. You want to compare yourself to the Pacers' depth? Okay, but the comparison ends there. There's no Halliburton. There's no champion in Siakam. There's nothing like that with the Bulls. There's no all-stars. I mean, there's nothing. So to compare yourself with the Pacers from the depth standpoint, okay, and that's where the comparison ends. So we're going to hear that. We're going to hear about how you don't need 2 or 3 superstars anymore. Looking at you, Lakers. Looking at you, Golden State. This is about just having really good players 1 through 12. Okay, they've got good players 1 through 12. Really good? Remains to be seen. This is not a rebuild. The 26 class is loaded. We don't give a damn. We're not going to tank. We don't do that. Competitive integrity. We're going to hear. These are all the things we're going to hear. Prepare yourself for it. Don't buy into it. It's the same song and dance. This is what Arturis does. And the fact is, they were all given extensions, so no one's going anywhere. That's just a fact. But Cowley Island's a very simple place right now. It is, AK, you do you. You say what you feel like you got to say to get these fans to show up. They're going to show up anyway. The sheep will come. Bang. And I'm just not going to buy into it. And I don't think rest of the media will, because it's the same old song and dance. So excited to hear your big speech, AK. And let's go to the list. All right. We'll have an NBA regular season preview, but the odds are out for MVP for the 25-26 season. So I did my own odds. These are the 5 guys, and there's a couple, at least one that might raise some eyebrows, but these are the 5 guys that I have for MVP candidates, and we'll go from 5 to who I think will win it. Win it will not be a surprise. Number 5, a little bit of a surprise, Skinny Zion Williamson. Look, give me 75 games. If you give me 75 games, I think it's a double-double, assists. I think he can take his game to new heights that we haven't seen. I'm excited for it. It could be a colossal fail. We'll see. Number 4, hey, Wemby, how about we play a full season? Because when you play a full season or when you play numerous games, you are really, really good. You are a freak of nature, especially on the defensive end. The offense, we'll see how far that takes another jump. But you got to be healthy, bro. If you're healthy, I think he's a top 5 MVP candidate. 3 is going to be our defending champ. I think he's going to drop down from MVP, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Look, target's on his back, but it's a really good team. I have a feeling some other guys on that team are going to continue to jump up. He is the heartbeat of the team. He's the best player on the team. Let's not make any mistake about that. But they got some other dudes on that team. It's just a really, really good squad, a really great roster, one that could be almost a dynasty for a couple of years. We'll see. But I think SGA takes a couple steps back. Voter fatigue, whatever you want to call it. Number 2. Skinny Luka. We already got Skinny Zion. Now we got Skinny Luka, number 2. It's his team. And for the first time, LeBron James is Robin. He's no longer Batman. You know, Gotham is now belongs to Skinny Luka. So I think he's had a phenomenal summer with the FIBA Cup and all the Euro Cup and all that kind of stuff. So I think Skinny Luka is going to be a problem. And we all knew he was going to become Skinny Luka, because when you look at LeBron and you show up and you're just some fat mope from Dallas who can just put the ball in the hoop and not really be interested in doing anything else, a little peer pressure comes on you. So Skinny Luka, number 2. And number 1, the Joker. Wait till you get a load of me. Nikola Jokic, I think, regains his title. I think voter fatigue hurt him because his numbers were ridiculous. But he's the best all-around player in the game right now. So that puts, let's see. Ooh. Joker, foreigner, Euro. Skinny Luka, Euro. SGA, Canadian. Wemby, French. 1 through 4, no American players. Zion, first American. That list will change in about 3 years when Cooper Flagg is firmly sitting in that 1 and 2 spot. But let's give that a little time. But right now, hey, USA, let's step up, boys. So that's who I have for the MVP candidates. At least my top 5 as the NBA camps are about to start. We'll be checking in with some practice updates. Hopefully we'll be getting some very good guests this season. I'm excited for year 2 of the podcast, and hopefully you guys are too. But until then, I got next.